Hi everyone, I'm Aoife from Women's Health Dublin. So this video we're just going to talk about week 2 postpartum, and again going through my own personal experience, and everyone is different. So from the ground up, feet much less swollen. I'd say 80% there. Can see my ankle bones again, delighted. And pelvic girdle pain, I'd say now is 95% better. The only time I feel anything in my pelvic girdle is if I'm getting dressed, standing on one leg for too long, kind of shimmying the other leg, trying to get my foot into something. I can feel a little bit of a twinge there. But otherwise, in and out of bed, up the stairs, walking for as long as I want, just pain-free pelvic girdle, except for getting dressed. That's it. So delighted with that. Down below, I have to say, I again don't have stitches. Definitely the numbness has improved drastically. I can really start to feel my pelvic floor activation. I do feel a bit weak down there, and then if I'm walking for long periods, I definitely do like feel a heaviness. So I've been trying to pull back. I think my pelvic girdle is feeling so good. My brain wants to get out and walk, and we've had some really nice weather this week. But if I do beyond kind of 45 minutes, I definitely feel heavy. So, that could be a mild prolapse. Just things are still very weak down there. The pressure of that big bump was pushing everything down. My diaphragm is still connected. My core is still really weak. So obviously if I exercise beyond a certain limit, then maybe, it's not so happy. So I'm trying to listen to my body. I definitely, after the first big, long 90-minute walk, felt it. So I didn't walk for a couple of days, and now I've really pulled back on that distance. And if my husband's with me, he'll push the buggy, but otherwise I'll push the buggy. But yeah, then also my 3-year-old was a little bit unwell, so I lifted him a couple of times out of his cot, and definitely felt a lot of pressure down there. So, it's hard as a mum. You can't just, follow all the rules all the time. But I definitely that night after lifting him a couple of times, learnt my lesson. So, my body is not ready for lifting heavy weights and walking long, long distances. So again, learning from this, I'm going to pull back a little bit this week. Still getting a little bit of pins and needles in my hands, just if I'm holding my little baby for long periods. Again, probably still a little bit of swelling there, and just the nerves are a little bit compressed. Definitely much better than last week, but still there if I'm holding her for really long periods at a time. Boobs really are getting there. I'd say 90% better, still on the latch. I just get a few seconds of pain, but other than that, doing well. Still sleeping as much as I can, night, day, nap times, whatever, whenever I get a chance. My husband's going to be off again for this week. This is week 3, and I might have to rethink my plan after that. But yeah, still trying to get my sleep in, still trying to eat well. Definitely having some cookies here and there and a coffee, just to kind of get the sugar levels up. But yeah, trying to look after myself as best I can. So, all in all this week, that's really my main symptom, is that heaviness down in the pelvic floor, that there's still a bit of weakness down there. Everything else is very manageable. So delighted. And then still a little bit of bleeding, like a day 4 period now. You keep thinking, oh, it's gone. And then you're like, oh, glad I'm still wearing pads. So they do say keep wearing pads for a few weeks, because you might think it's gone and then you still get spotting. So yeah, it's amazing. This day 2 weeks ago, I was giving birth, and now look at me. Well, I might look amazing, but I feel much better. So yeah, that's all. Wrapping that up. They are my symptoms, and maybe next week I will have no symptoms to tell you about. Be great. So going to do another video, or if it's already on my page now, check out my video on rehab week 2, and I'm also going to do a little video on diastasis. You can check them both out on my page. I'm Aoife from Women's Health Dublin.ie.